Hello everybody, this is Lara with your Monday to Friday update for Bitcoin, Ethereum and XRP on Thursday the 9th of May. Happy Thursday everybody, and tomorrow's Friday, yay! Bitcoin's just been moving sideways. They're all consolidating essentially, and this market has been very boring for weeks now, and I just keep saying the same things every day. So today I'm going to answer a subscriber and a member's question. He said, Lara, you keep referring to this model of stochastics plus support and resistance. What does that mean? How does it work? So I'm going to try and explain and answer that question in this video using Bitcoin as an example. Here's the previous all-time high. Up to this high, Bitcoin was in an upward trend, a series of higher highs, a series of higher lows. And ADX, the daily and weekly and monthly timeframes, all indicated, yes, Bitcoin was in an upward trend. At this point in time now, on the 9th of May, Bitcoin at the daily and weekly time frame is no longer in a clear trend. At the monthly time frame, it is still very obviously in an upward trend. But trends don't move in straight lines. There will be pullbacks and consolidations during an upward trend. And this is a consolidation with a slight downward bias within a larger upward trend. I have this set of indicators chosen very carefully to fit both a trending situation and a consolidation or not trending situation. At any one point in time, price will be doing one of three things. It'll be trending up, it'll be trending down, or it'll be consolidating sideways in a counter trend movement. And this is a sideways consolidation. Once price has started out in the sideways consolidation, you can identify resistance and support areas or zones. The current resistance zone for Bitcoin is 71,500 to about 73,100. The support area was about 60,700, and last week we saw a false breakout below that. Price quickly returned back above 60,700. So now we have a support zone from 60,700 to 58,200, and I've chosen the 58,200 from the open and close of these candlesticks, not the lows. Here's another thing to understand about consolidation zones. Price can overshoot resistance and support. You can have false breakouts, and then price can quickly turn back within the consolidation zone. So in terms of a rectangle, we understand that to be as you can have false breakouts. So you have to be really careful when you have confidence after a breakout. You want to see price move away from the consolidation and not quickly return back into it. When it does, like it did back here, you have to expand your support or resistance areas. And so when ADX tells us there's no clear trend because it's declining or it's too low below 15, then the model I revert to is a model of stochastics plus support and resistance. I've outlined how to identify support and resistance. Let's look at how stochastics works with that. First of all, it was on the 14th of March, right after the all-time high, that ADX started to decline. And when ADX declines, it tells us there's no clear trend. When there's no clear trend, I revert to the model of stochastics plus support and resistance. And so after price starts to decline, we look for where's it going to find support. Now, the model isn't perfect, but this is how it's supposed to work. Stochastic swings from overbought to oversold, overbought to oversold. Price swings from resistance to support, and back again. There are a few problems with this model, and it's not perfect, and I'll outline how it should work and how it works in reality. Sometimes it works really well. In this example for Bitcoin, we're going to see all of the problems with the model as well. Stochastics starts out overbought, and it's been overbought for a while. At the end of the upward trend, that's really normal behavior for stochastics to remain extreme during a trending market. But when a market is not trending, stochastics will swing from one extreme to the other while price moves from resistance to support. Here, stochastics moves down toward oversold, but it didn't quite reach oversold. And this is the low for price, about 60,700 on this point for stochastics. So price reached support, but stochastics fell short of oversold. That's one of the problems with the model. Stochastics then turns here and has a positive slope, price has green candlesticks moving higher toward resistance. So at that point we expect, okay, let's expect stochastics to continue higher until it reaches overbought and price to continue higher until it reaches resistance. And at this point here, price is at its highest point on a closing basis. It's now at resistance at 71,500. So we've got a new lower resistance area. Stochastics fully reaches overbought. Price is near resistance 73,100. We've got a new identified resistance at 71,500. Because stochastics is fully overbought, we can expect a turn from price and for price to now start to move lower and stochastics to continue toward oversold while price continues lower toward support. Price starts to continue lower, stochastics moves lower, and then price turns around and moves back up toward resistance, reaching a little bit higher resistance at 73,100. Stochastics turns back up and doesn't quite reach overbought. And this is one of the problems. Within those swings from resistance to support, price will be very choppy and overlapping. It can test resistance more than once before it has a proper downward swing, and it's impossible to know if it's going to do that or if it's just continuing on down. Here we have the second test of resistance. Stochastics doesn't quite reach overbought, but now here stochastics is moving lower and price is moving lower, so we can look out again for a downward swing for price to continue towards support and stochastics to continue toward oversold. Price does reach support again about 60,700. Stochastics gets even closer to oversold, almost reaching into oversold, and now it turns up with a positive slope. Price turns up with green candlesticks. So we can expect here that the downward swing may be complete. Support has been found. Look for an upward swing to resistance. The upward swing to resistance, price does not reach resistance. Stochastics does not reach overbought. And here, stochastics moves lower, price moves lower. We get a second test of support with an overshoot of prior support at 60,700. Price quickly returns back to within the consolidation. Stochastics didn't quite reach oversold, and now it has a positive slope. So now we have to expand our support area to a small zone, 60,700 to 58,200, and now we can expect reasonably overall an upward swing for stochastics to continue higher toward overbought and price to continue higher toward resistance, but don't expect it to move in a straight line. It will be likely choppy and overlapping. We could get a second test of support. Stochastics could continue lower toward oversold before price moves higher to reach resistance. This movement of price within these swings is typically choppy and overlapping. The model is a general outline only of how you may expect price to behave. Assume the model will continue until we see a breakout. An upward breakout must have push from volume. A downward breakout doesn't have to, but when volume accompanies a downward breakout, that is impressive. Look for price to move away with confidence from resistance or support before you have confidence in the breakout, and then look out for possible back tests of support and resistance. At any time during this model, if ADX turns and tells you there is now a trend, you can discard the model of stochastics plus support and resistance and then revert to using ADX in conjunction with RSI and money flow. And that's my general outline of how that model should work with all of the problems associated with it. And so at this point in time, I'm expecting prices pretty close to support at 60,700. We could see another successful test here. We could also see another test of 58,200. We could see stochastics move a little bit further toward oversold. But overall, what I am expecting at this point is overall an upward swing toward resistance at 71,500, 73,100. Overall, with overall stochastics moving higher toward overbought. It might not completely reach overbought. If price reaches resistance and stochastics is close to overbought, the upward swing may end there. But I'm not going to expect it has to move in a straight line, and this last 3 sessions of red candlesticks is pretty normal behavior because those swings from support to resistance are pretty choppy and overlapping. My Elliott Wave count for Ethereum is very bullish. Jack Frost gave you a full update a couple of days ago. I'll go over it quickly today. At the weekly time frame, for Ethereum, I have this wave count in a third wave at primary degree, which is in a third wave at cycle degree at the monthly time frame. So I have nested third waves, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 degrees. That's an extremely bullish Elliott wave count. People have had a problem with the ballpark figures for cycle and primary degree. I'm going to discard the ballpark figures for cycle wave 3, and we're not going to calculate anything for cycle 3 until primary 3 and 4 are complete. These ballpark figures, the first number, 19.13, is not a Fibonacci ratio. That's the length of primary 3 to primary 1 within cycle 1. The second number, 15.28, also not a Fibonacci ratio. That's the length of intermediate 3 to 1 within primary 1 of cycle 3. So these two large numbers are previous third wave lengths in relation to their counterpart first waves. And so if we see third waves that long again, then these would be realistic possibilities for these third waves to reach, giving these not targets, just ideas of where these can end. I've got these numbers on these charts for my own and for Jack's investing purposes. We've bought Ethereum a few years ago, we're hanging on, and I'm going to exit either at the end of primary 3 or for Ethereum, probably I'd rather prefer to exit at the end of cycle wave 3. These third waves may only subdivide as impulses. Within intermediate 3, I have minor 1 and 2 complete. Now minor 3 beginning may only subdivide as an impulse. Minute 1 and minute 2 may now be complete. If minute 2 continues further, it may not move beyond the start of 1 below 1521.78. The main Elliott wave count sees minute wave 2 complete here, down here on the daily time frame as a double zigzag. This is actually Jack's Elliott wave count, and this is one of the bonuses. If you sign up for our upcoming Ethereum subscription, we'll be providing in-depth Elliott wave analysis every week using classic technical analysis to support it, and you're getting both me and Jack working on this. It's got my full involvement. Jack, quite often he comes up with some things that I've missed. So you've got two eyes, sets of eyes and brains looking at this market for you, not just one. So you're going to get some pretty decent Elliott wave analysis. And it's always going to meet all Elliott wave rules. This main Elliott wave count suggests that minute wave 2 could be complete here as a double zigzag. First zigzag, X. Second zigzag has moved beyond the end of the first, achieving its purpose of deepening the correction. The whole structure has a downward slope. This is an Elliott channel drawn from the start of minuet W to the end of X with a copy on the end of W. When this trend line is breached by a full green daily candlestick above and not touching, then we can have trend channel confirmation that this counter trend movement is over and the larger upward trend has then resumed. Alternatively, it's possible that minute wave 2 may be incomplete, moving lower as a double zigzag. The first zigzag could have been complete here, X, and the second zigzag, A, B, C, could continue lower. Minute 2 may not move beyond the start of 1 below 1521.78. The invalidation point technically must remain at that point to allow for this alternate. I always like to consider alternates where possible, but I think Jack's main Elliott wave count has a better fit, has a better look, has a decent probability. At the daily time frame for Ethereum, there's no triangle or rectangle pattern. There's a counter trend movement with a downward slope, currently finding support about 2,720, resistance about 3,200. The last candlestick approaching the last low is a very strong bullish hammer candlestick pattern. We've got a dragonfly doji here and a bullish piercing pattern. So at these last three lows, all of them have bullish reversal patterns, suggesting we might have lows that are sustained about support at 2720, a little bit above. The short-term volume profile for Ethereum is bearish though, stronger push on red candlesticks, declining volume on green candlesticks. So that alternate Elliott wave count is a response to this short-term bearish volume profile. It is possible we could see one more low for Ethereum before the pullback is complete. Today, ADX is increasing for Ethereum, telling us there's a downward trend. When ADX tells us there's a trend, I use a model of ADX, RSI, and money flow, not stochastics. There's a downward trend and RSI's got a ways to go before it reaches oversold. Money flow's got a ways to go before it too reaches oversold, and ADX is nowhere near extreme. So if there is indeed a new downward trend, it's got a long way to go before it may end. ATR has been declining, however, as prices overall moving lower, and volume overall has been declining as prices moving lower. This does not look like a strong bear market. A strong bear market would have push from volume and especially an increase in range, as volatility should increase throughout a bear market. That is not happening tells us that this is most likely a short-term downward trend within the larger picture of a larger bull market. This is my main Elliott wave count at the daily time frame for XRP. It considers the correction for XRP also could have been complete at the low for 13th of April 2024. Intermediate 2 subdivides as an uncommon double combination, zigzag, X, regular flat for Y. If 2 is over there, then 3 should have begun. This wave count for XRP sees a third wave at intermediate, primary and cycle degree. My target for primary 3 is 29.01. That's where primary 3 would reach 15.66 times the length of primary wave 1. That was the length of primary 3 to 1 within cycle wave 1. If we see the same length again within cycle 3, then that would be a reasonable target. I am not using that for my own investing purposes. For XRP, I'm not planning to take profit at that point, but it's a guideline as to what I might expect. I'm going to rely more heavily on my Elliott Wave count and classic technical analysis to guide me as to when to take profit for XRP. Technicals for XRP, it's been moving sideways for a few weeks now with resistance about 54-55 cents, support about 49 cents. The picture today is unchanged from the last few times I've analysed this for you. I feel like this is getting a bit boring and I'm repeating myself, but necessary to remain calm, to have a quick look at the markets every day, just to remind ourselves it's just a consolidation, most likely within an ongoing upward trend. For the short term, XRP has a short-term bullish volume profile, particularly the upward session of 6th of May has a nice increase in volume, so that supports the view that XRP could have found a low in April at this low back down here. XRP is within a consolidation for price with a corresponding consolidation for on-balance volume. I'll be watching on-balance volume for a signal if it breaks above resistance or below support. ADX is declining for XRP. The DX lines are whipsawing. There is no clear trend. Another reason why I expect for the 13th of April XRP may have a sustainable low is RSI reached oversold. It doesn't tend to do that often at the daily time frame, and when it does, it's associated commonly with sustainable lows. Because ADX tells us there is no clear trend, a model of stochastics plus support and resistance would expect overall, a choppy overlapping overall upward swing from price toward resistance, again about 54-55 cents or above, and for the upward swing to end when stochastics reaches at or very close to overbought and prices at resistance simultaneously. That's it from me today with your update, and I hope everyone's having a lovely day.